Okay, very good afternoon to all of you. My name is Samrat. I work for Euraxess in India, and it is a great pleasure for us to bring you another exciting and very important webinar on the MSCA-Postdoctoral Postdoctoral Fellowships Call 2023. So for those of you who have been joining us in the past weeks, know that we already organized a few webinars on this particularly postdoctoral fellowship call, which is one of the most prestigious in the world. It allows researchers from any nationality, from any country to come to Europe for a 2-year postdoc, or European residents, researchers based in Europe to come to, for instance, India or to any country in the world. So today what we're going to do is we have some really great experts here who will guide you through the proposal parts, like the different application parts of this proposal, and give you a good insight and overview about that. So let me welcome first our main speaker today, which is Ms. Leila Triki. She is part of the Tunisian National Contact Points team for the MSCA-Postdoctoral Actions under the European Research and Innovation Program Horizon Europe, with expertise in intellectual property. Leila, very good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for the invitation, and good afternoon for you.
Thank you. And also it gives me an enormous pleasure to welcome back again Dr. Inderjit Sahu, who is working as an assistant professor at the Department of Medical Research at SRM University in China. A very good afternoon to you, Inderjit.
Yeah, thank you. Good afternoon to you.
And for those who have watched our previous webinar on how to apply for this fellowship, maybe have already seen and heard Dr. Inderjit, because Dr. Inderjit himself is a MSCA fellow, which he was awarded in 2017, and he's been a part of the MSCA family alumni network since then, and he will also give some personal insights how he tackled the proposal, how he approached it, and also will give you some valuable tips on for you who are preparing now, right now, this proposal for the 2023 calls. So without any further delay, I would like to ask Leila to take over the mic for me and guide us a bit through now this application process, the proposal. Thank you, Leila. The floor is yours.
Thank you for you. I will share my screen. Yes. Just a moment. So you see my screen?
Yes. Yeah. Perfect.
So good evening for everyone, and thank you for this invitation to present the Marie Sklodowska-Curie actions, which are part of the European programs Horizon Europe, and it is part of the Pillar 1, which are excellence. So the main and global objective of Marie Sklodowska-Curie for postdoctoral fellowship is to foster excellence through the implementation of research projects. It enhances the creative and innovative potential of researchers holding a PhD, so through training on transferable skills and career development. It is an action who focuses on international and sectorial and interdisciplinarity mobility, and it bridges with an exposure to the non-academic sector. It is also considered as a bottom-up project, so you can apply for your disciplinarity. So there are three impacts on researchers as career development of skills, impact of hosting institution for developing research project, and also and mainly in research and innovative impact. So it is an open program, as I said, bottom-up project, who is open to all thematic area as chemistry, social science, economic science, information science, and engineering, environment, life science, mathematics, physics, and earth area also. And it is a project with fully funded based on unit cost. We will see this later. So for MSCA Postdoctoral Fellowship, it is already open since 12 April. It will be closed on 13 September. The notification for applicants, if their proposal has been selected, will be on February 2024. On June, the grant agreement signature for successful project will be signed, and for fellowship, they can start their fellowship, the mobility, on March 2024 and September 2025. So you have enough time to be prepared for the project. So there are two types of fellowship. The first one is European Postdoctoral Fellowship for the duration 1 year to 2 years for an institution located in Europe as member state or associated country like Tunisia. And there is Global Postdoctoral Fellowship. So 1 year to 2 year outgoing phase in third country, and 1 year return phase in an European country. So it is one proposal per researcher. We cannot submit two proposals for the same project, and there is a restriction to resubmission. So you must have more than 70% score to resubmit the next year, and an additional non-academic placement which is non-mandatory for 6 months, additional 6 months in Europe for the researcher who want to be placed in a non-academic institution. So how to apply? So the beneficiary which will be in Europe. So for recruitment, receiving fund, signing the grant agreement. It is open to both sector, academic and non-academic sector. There are two types for researcher. So researchers who are applying for project as a fellow, and researcher who will be the supervisor within the organization. And the associated partners will be for a global fellowship outgoing phase. So it will be for secondments and placement. So it is important to note that letters of commitment will apply for placement. So European fellowship and global fellowship for outgoing phase in global fellowship. So you must check your eligibility criteria for your research experience. It is full part research 8 years. We will see details next, and nationality and criteria for mobility rules. All criteria must and should be met in the time of the deadline, which is 13 September 2023. So for MSCA fellowship, postdoctoral fellowship, the candidate must have his PhD as the deadline of the call, and the PhD degree and maximum of 8 years of research full-time experience. So what are the expectations for the 8-year full-time experience? We can this limit can be extended for the following reason, as maternity leave, paternal leave, long-term sick leave, career break, so time which you are not exerting your work, the national service, time not devoted to research, national and long term of member state and associated country in a third country, or having returned to Europe along the last 12 months before the call deadline, can discount their research experience in third country when applying to European fellowship. So it is all these details can be minus your experience to have not more than 8 years research full-time experience. So how to calculate this 8 year? You can see the area guidelines, self-assessment tool for MSCA postdoctoral fellowship. So for the first type of postdoctoral fellowship, European fellowship, the project will be implemented in a European organization who will be the beneficiary. So European organizations in member state or associated country. It is open to all nationalities, so it is open to researchers from India. Mobility rules will be for a maximum of 12 months of the last 36 months in the European country of the beneficiary. Researcher with PhD degree and maximum 8 years of research full-time experience. Duration will be from 12 to 24 months. It is possible to have extendments can take place in any part of the world, so organization from India, and there is a possibility of 6-month extension for non-academic placement in Europe. So as an example, for an European fellowship, we can have, I give the name of my colleague. So Ahmed Ma'lail will be a candidate for an European fellowship. He is a researcher from Tunisia, living in Tunis in Italy for the last 4 years, PhD degree from NC, donc Tunisian University, in 2015, and he is a candidate for European fellowship in Spain, and Cristina Gomez can be his supervisor. She will support the candidate in the proposal with the role of supervisor, and she is the head of the research team in the Basque Center of Cognition, Brain and Language as a beneficiary in Spain. For global fellowship, so for the outgoing phase outside Europe, third country, will be for 12 to 24 months as an associated partner, and a return phase in Europe in the beneficiary organization for 12 months. So third country organization, like for India, can be an ongoing phase. Researchers from member state or associated country and long-term residents minus over 5 years long-term resident can be fellowship. Researcher with PhD degree and maximum 8 years, as we see for previous for the European fellowship, are the same rule. Mobility rules, it will be 12 months of the last 36 months in the country of the outgoing phase as of 13 September. Duration from 24 to 36 months, including the 1-year return phase. Also, there can be segments in any part of the world during the outgoing phase, and maximum 1/3 of the duration of the outgoing phase, and the 6-month extension for non-academic placement in Europe. So for an example, as a global fellowship, a researcher candidate from USA with a PhD degree in Spain during October 2015, living there until 2022. And since 2023, he is living in India. Will apply for a global fellowship with a beneficiary in Tunisia and an associated partner in India. So it is possible in this case, initial outgoing phase will be in India, and a returnal and final phase will be in Tunisia for an American research. So how the project work? It is much more than a research project. It develops research capacity, transfer skills and employability, exchange of knowledge between researchers, so the fellow and his supervisor, and participating organization. It is a common approach. The best proposals are always collaborative between the candidate researcher and the organization presenting the proposal and the assigned supervisor. The supervisor has a key role in the proposal, so fellow and supervisor must be in contact and demonstrate synergy between the supervisor and the fellow. All parties should collaborate to establish expectation and research. Keep in mind the needs of the project and the research applying. So how our projects are funded? The beneficiary receiving European funding needs to recruit the researcher for the total period of his fellowship. The Europe provides support for the recruited researcher in the form of a living allowance, a mobility allowance, and if applicable, a family and long-term leave and special needs allowance if there is need. In addition, funding is provided for research, training and network activity, management and indirect costs, and so it will be for the institution who will host the fellow. So I will give you some tips for the form and templates for the project. There will be part A for administrative information about the institution, general information, the budget, the mobility, and all administrative information. Then there will be part B for technical information. The part 1 for different section which are excellence, impact, and implementation of the project. And for the second part, there will be research CV, institution tables, ethical aspect, security screening, letter of commitment. So for the fellow who will be applying, you must be in contact with the institution who will host you and your supervisor to match all these parts of the project. The evaluation criteria, so excellence will be noted as 50%, impact 30%, and implementation 20%. But take in mind that all this section must be at a higher score to be approved. And there will be 3 experts from the European Commission who will evaluate your proposal. So be careful, you need to have the maximum score and the maximum approbation from all the experts who can be from any domain, any sector. So evaluation criteria, excellence will be about the quality and the pertinence of the project, the proposed methodology of the project, the supervision, training, and the two-way transfer of knowledge, and researcher professional experience. So your competence and your skills. Impact will be measure the enhance of the career perspective and employability, the expected outcomes and impacts of the project, and expected scientific and social and economic impacts. And finally, for implementation, it will be about quality and effectiveness of the work plan, assessment of risk, and appropriate of the effort. So all management aspects, and quality and capacity of the host institution and participating organization. So general aspect of the evaluation about excellence, it must be an excellent research and innovation project, innovative project, scientific goals and global view of the project, interdisciplinarity, intersectorial and diversity dimension, methodology detailed and following the open science. So I put here some guides to see the open innovation science and understanding the gender dimension in MSCA project. And general aspect for issues related to supervision, training, and professional development. Supervision, we must show the experience and relevant data of supervisor, the role in the career development, a plan of the follow, how it will be as training in scientific, technical, and transferable skills, secondment, if there are secondment, transfer of knowledge, what will this project bring to the follow, and how are the relationship enriched on the long and mid-term of this project. And for impact, you must demonstrate the roadmap of professional development perspective, the results and the effects of this project, and what are the expected impacts. So which are the prospective exercise on the term, medium, long term, gains in collaboration with networks, what will be sharing results with final users, societies, and scientific community, dissemination and exploitation of results, and impact in the European research area and references to public policies, and also for other aspects as intellectual property. You can see also the manual green chart for MSCA. And the general aspects for evaluation for the part implementation, it's about management aspect. So we can demonstrate the identification and description of work package and task, follow mechanism, what will be the deliverable milestone, the grant chart, risk assessment, and contingent plans, explain the capacity of the participating organization as its infrastructure, its experience in European project. It will be evaluated in the project. So I will show you some statistics about the last 2 years for postdoctoral fellowship. So during 2022, the European Commission received more than 7,000 proposals between European fellowship and global fellowship. And during 2021 also, the repartition for the project for the panel, it shows you that it covers all thematic or sector, chemistry, environment, and engineering. And also for global fellowship. So some advice and tips for the project. Postdoctoral fellowship is not a research project, but a training research project. Don't be excessively ambitious, be realistic, and propose viable action for the time available. Be precise, work on the structure, if the proposal. Show good match between the follow and supervisor and beneficiary organization. Follow in the instruction of the template. All sections are equal important, so high score in the 3 sections of the project is important to be funded. And you must show that this project will really impact your career. For the CV of the fellow, it does not need to be perfect. It should be competitive, and the K is showing how through the project it will be even more. And future improvability is K, is the K to be selected. So general advice, you must align your project with relative initiative in your area, and you must clearly and correctly define your impacts. The outputs as training, database, collaboration project, PhDs, other outcomes as intermediate impact, as science impact, capacity building, structural, economic, and symbolic impact, and the global and long-term impact as economic impact, innovation impacts, and policy conceptual impacts. So general tips, as summary, use the available resource, choose institution with the experience, contact your future supervisor, explain your motivation, highlight your added value, be proactive. Don't wait for the open of the call to prepare your project. Start before, and contact your or any MSA NCP in the country where you want to move. All NCP are there to help you in your proposal. So where to find the information and how to find a host organization. So the first platform you can visit is Funding and Tender Opportunity. It is the European Commission platform, where you will find the call before the opening of the call. So you will find the partner and research announcement, the host, some hosting institution who will express their interest to host the follow. So here the actual call, there is 66 item about partner search. You can consult this in internet, and you have the European project support for NCP, who is a MSCA-NET project. The objective of this platform is to improve, professionalize, and align MSCA NCP services, simplify access for potential application to MSCA Horizon Europe call. So you will find all useful material to prepare your call, and you will have the MSCA matchmaking platform. It is the opportunity to show the interest of institution research supervisor in the MSCA call. There is a section where expression of interest to support the institution in attracting more MSCA follow per MSCA call. Feeling you can feel for the institution feeling a simple form to be able to see your expression of interest in this website, and also this expression of interest page is complemented by our MSCA matchmaking platform and the Euraxess database. So in Euraxess, you will find all fellowship proposed by institution. Next. So voila. There is a page where we have MSCA hosting offers in this portal. So applicants who have not yet found the host organization Europe can search for a organization that will be the host candidate of foreign nationality. And as example, in the beginning of the month of June, 5 and 6 June, Euraxess Worldwide hosted a B2B webinar between host and postdoctoral fellow over the world. So during these 2 days, I have my colleague from Tunisia who presented my institution to host a follow for this call. So you can participate to brokerage event organized by the European Commission. It is an event for networking and to know other person from different country. And it is organized by area, not specially for MSCA. So depending on your area, information and network, there are days who are regularly organized, and the list of participants is available in some case. So you can contact some person who can be your supervisor or for any project. You can also participate to cost actions who are interdisciplinary network open to all fields of science and technology. It brings together researcher and innovator for years in an inclusive, synergetic, and stimulating pan-European environment. So you can submit to join an existing network. So in summary, activate your direct network, bilateral and multilateral previous collaboration to for your project. participate in events dedicated tourism Europe for more network and contacting other researchers. Use your use partner research platforms as funding and tender portal. Cordis for the project already closed or accepted by the European Commission, and try to participate in cost actions for further and more experience and more network. For other resources, there is the Horizon Europe NCP portal and the Marie Curie Alumni Association. I think that Indrajit will talk about it and will give you more information. So here we are, my colleague NCP for MSCA from Tunisia. There are Dr. Hela Hsairi, Dr. Mohamed Kefi, me, and Mr. Meher Bouaba. So we are here. We can help you if you can for contacting institution if you want to visit Tunisia, or to give you some tips and what we can for helping you to give the most effective and winner project. And thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Laila, for a very comprehensive and well-explained presentation about the different parts of the proposal and also where to find useful tips. I think that's also very good, and also referring to the already existing information on the MSCA Postdoctoral Fellowship on the net, to the NCP network, the matchmaking platform, and Euraxess, of course, where a lot of hosting offers are still expression of interest of host institutions are still available for you out there. So I'm seeing our Q&A box is filling up. We got a lot of questions coming in. We will look at them in a short while, but before we go to the, your pressing questions, I would like to invite Dr. Indrajit Sahu also to come in as a presenter today. He has been, as I told you, an MSCA fellow himself, and he has a very good experience and knowledge about this program in different capacities. Indrajit, we would really like to know your personal and also for professional insights into this fellowship. If you could share with the audience, how you kind of cracked the MSCA fellowship and how was the journey, the proposal journey. Thank you.
Yeah, sure, definitely. Thanks, Dr. Samrat, for this invitation. And I'm really glad that I could able to contribute from my side to some extent to give some knowledge to the applicants who are really interested to go to Europe and perform their dream project. Okay, so let me put my slide on the slideshow mode. Okay, well. Hello everyone, good afternoon or probably good morning based on where you are now. My name is Indrajit Sahu. Currently, I'm an assistant professor in the Division of Medical Research at SRM University, Chennai. Actually, I was on Marie Curie individual fellow. It was that time as an individual fellow during 2017. And 2017 to 2019. Then afterward, from 2020, I've been working as a proposal evaluator till now. So I'll be talking about mostly focusing on how to write a very successful postdoctoral fellowship grant for this Marie Curie call. And I will give you some tips and very crucial critical points that might help you to improve your writing skill or writing style for this particular proposal. Okay, so before that, I just want to put a disclaimer that all information or suggestion or advice that I'm giving here are not exactly official, but they are just based on my experience, my expertise, and acquired knowledge during my tenure through with the Marie Curie action. So the outline of my talk will specific. It will be very specific tips and tricks for a successful Marie Curie individual fellowship or PF right now. It is proposal writing, and some general advice for proposal writing grant for the Marie Curie. And before that, I would really and highly recommend all of you to look at this handbook, which is a really wonderful guidebook that will, it's something like 44 pages, and it's for the applicants who are applying this year. And this really helped me during my time. It explained each and every aspects of the proposal very thoroughly, very in every detail. It gives you some tricks and tips and what to do, what not to do. So it's a really good guide. Take a while, take the snapshot and download this PDF and read it. Okay, well, so let's move forward and let's see what is actually the proposal. I'm not actually giving you the general information about the application procedure. Ms. Leila already informed about, given you most of the information, and probably from our last webinars, you must have heard about the general information about this Marie Curie postdoctoral fellowship. So I will be focusing on how you will go ahead and write a very successful scientific research proposal, this Marie Curie proposal. Okay, so usually this proposal is composed of two parts, which is part A and part B. So part A, as already mentioned by Leila, that it includes the administrative and financial information of the host institute and some about the researcher as well. So that will be filled online. But part B, which actually includes the real scientific and training activities, the real research part, it's already, I presume, more already started about your project to your host institute. So you are probably, I'm thinking you're a little bit ahead in the race. Otherwise, shift the gear, put your foot on the accelerator, because you only have 65 days to submit. So start writing as soon as possible. So part B is the important one, and it's again divided into part B1 and part B2. So part B1, which actually is the major part, where I would say 85% time the evaluator spend their energy or time to look at the proposal, and 15% time they actually look at of their evaluation time to the CV, to look at the CV and other information of your academic institution, and also about your supervisor. So be very careful about the part B1 while you are writing. And as the maximum limit of this part B1 is only 10 pages. So you have only 10 pages to express your interest in the scientific project. So as you know, you must have saw this slide before in Leila's presentation. So the part B1 is evaluated in 3 different category or sections. One is excellence, impact, and the implementation. So the excellence will be having the weightage of 50%, then impact 30% and 20%. So these numbers correspond to how important they are while evaluation. Nevertheless, all parts should be addressed very thoroughly, very nicely. Otherwise, if you are strong in one part and weak in other part, I'm afraid that you can hit that threshold. So just for the visual easiness, I just put just divide your 10 pages proposal into this section, like for 5 to 6 pages should be your excellence and excellence part. I will come to the point what is actually excellence and what need to be covered in this part. And the impact should be something like 2 to 3 pages, and implementation should be something like 1.5 pages or 2 pages maximum. So accordingly, you format your proposal and write and finish exactly at the 10 pages. If you exceed 10 pages, the last page will be not considered at all. We only be considered for the first 10 pages. So be careful. And before that, most importantly, I would like to emphasize here that MSCA, the Marie Curie action, or the evaluator, they do not judge your science. They judge your ability of doing science. Okay, so based on how meticulously you have described your ideas and presented your plans. So they are betting on you, not on the science that you want to do. Okay, so of course your science should be good, but it's all about the postdoctoral project. It's not about a higher established scientist research projects. So they are betting on your development, your career development, and they want you to be successful. And I'm not saying that within this 2 years, your science will solve something like a very big problem, cure cancer or some disease. No. So they are expecting that you to grow like to a level where you can stay independent science career. So let's come to the part B1, where the first first section will be excellence part. So I will not talk about the each and every detail. You can read very thoroughly the guidebook and get information, but I am giving you some tips, some tricks, how you can actually improve even better based on my experience while writing my proposal or evaluating the proposals currently since last year. Okay, so the excellence part is divided into 4 subsections. Okay, it's called criteria 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, and 1.4. So what is 1.1? So this is all of your research project, and in 1.1 you need to introduce your project and talk about the gap in science and what is your innovation and how will you fill the gap. So this is very important of this section. And make your objectives very realistically achievable or measurable. You can't write your objectives like very over ambitiously. Okay, so if there is work being carried out about your project by yourself or by your supervisor, do mention them. That sometimes helps the evaluator to get to even evaluate your proposal or your point. Okay, and another important thing is that pictorial representation is of the main goal or your ideas or the objective or maybe the theme of your project is sometimes helpful. The main point is that you need to make the job of your evaluator bit easy so that the evaluator will evaluate your proposal very nicely and with a very light mode. You don't have to just throw paragraphs and writing text and full of text in your proposal. So give some space and make a picture and depict something graphical abstract. So that will tell even more than 1,000 words. That as you know that a picture speaks more than 1,000 words. So and thing is that while make it monotonous. Phrases or statements which are very important, very, very vital, make them bold or italic. Sometimes you underline and sometimes make them little bit color. Do not make it like colorful, make it bicolor. So follow some rule that you use 2 color, either blue and black or something gray and black, or it depends on you. So that actually, stand out very nicely that you are serious and you know how to emphasize. But having said that, do not emphasize, do not make bold each and every sentence in each and every phrases. That also make the evaluator a little bit pissed off. And now coming to the criteria number 2, where actually your research project, the plan of work will be explained very nicely. That you can also do by pictorial representation, presenting your work plan, your methodologies in very detail. And and another important thing is that you can put brackets and corresponding work packages. So what is work packages? So while you will writing the last part of your proposal, you have to divide your total, the work plan into different work packages. So each work package should correlate with your objectives. So that's how you keep correlating your objectives with the work package and cite the work package back in criteria 1, and so that it will be coherent. Okay. And then connect to connect to this objective to your implementation part as well, which is the last part of your proposal. I will come to that point at the end. And highlight, bold some critical and or unique or novel experiments or techniques that you are developing, you want to do, or you are using very unique equipment. So highlight that so that so that in the first glance your evaluator will see it. Okay? That's the main point. And also talk about your, in this section, you also need to talk about your collaborator if you have any, or I mean, that definitely advisable, because the main goal of the Marie Curie this postdoctoral proposal is to bring people together. You need to be more collaborative, collaborate with interdisciplinary supervisors, so that your proposal will be even more, outspread and outstanding. And also it's I mean, it's encouraged that if you can add a secondment, and that's always better, but not mandatory, of course. But you have to justify in your proposal why do you need another collaborator and do you need a second. Of course, betterment, but you like that. Okay, so moving for the criteria 3 of the excellence part, where you need to talk about your supervisor. Okay, so the heading is like quality of your supervisor, the training and the two-way transfer. So where you will first introduce your supervisor, you will write about your supervisor's achievements, like in terms of hours, grants, publication, international collaboration that he has. So do not skip this part, thinking that your supervisor is a Nobel laureate, everyone will know that, or your supervisor is a very well famous person in the field. But the point is, the evaluator will not go online and check about your supervisor. You are the key person, you are the person who will explain, who will write about your supervisor in the proposal. So based on what you have written, that will be evaluated, not about your supervisor in general. So in my experience also, but few proposals do meet the value of the supervisor, credential to write them on the proposal. So sometimes that's how it's really undermined and under evaluated. So do not do that. Then if you have co-supervisor, again, explain them very nicely. And now coming to the next part of this, this is planned training. So if you are planning for, maybe you had some technical soft skill training you want to do, you need to write them in this section very nicely, very thoroughly, and very systematically. Another important point here, which you should not forget about, I see in some proposal that the two-way knowledge transfer, meaning you are coming to an institute, you are putting something on the table and you are getting from the institute or from the lab. You need to mention that what are the things that you are expecting from the host institute or a host lab, and in return, what you can provide, what you can supplement to the lab, to the institute, if possible. Okay, that things need to be, this is called two-way knowledge transfer, that things need to be very apparent in your proposal as well. Okay, now coming to the criteria number 4, which is it's about the appropriateness of the researcher. Now you here in this point, you need to define, you need to advertise yourself, that how good you are, how best person you are for this fellowship and for this project. So for this, you have like one paragraph to write about yourself, not any jargon, about your accomplishments, about your credentials, your CV. Take some highlights from your CV and write them in a way it will be relevant. Seems like that you are actually the perfect for this project and you have all the credentials for it. So you have to show that. Okay, of course, this criteria, while evaluating this criteria, the evaluator will look at your CV. So your CV will tell everything, but nevertheless, you have to write a single paragraph which only highlight the main point relevant to this project. Okay, now quickly moving to the next part, impact. Again, I'm saying again and again, go read the guidebook. You will get all information. Here only I'm giving you very short tips and tricks which are probably not in the guidebook. Fine. So in the impact section, there are 3 criteria: 2.1, 2.2, and 2.3. So what is 2.1? So 2.1, clearly you have to mention clearly your career goal. What exactly you want to do in a long term? What is your long-term plan? Either you want to stay in the academics or you want to non-academics. You need to write that. That will make us make the evaluator think that, okay, so this guy is very serious and he knows what to do after this proposal. Fine. Now, and then describe how this project, the scientific output, the training, the collaboration, the network, the secondment, whatever you are planning in this project will help you to in achieving your career goal. That's the major part of this impact section. And you need to explain it very nicely. For example, let's say you are in a stage where you are 75% competent in the job market, but if MSCA, this Marie Curie fellowship you get, that might fill another 25% and you will be 100% and competent enough for the job market and will get either in the academic or non-academic field. In the criteria 2, where actually you need to write what is the expected outcome and impacts or dissemination or exploitation program. So what is it? So you need to understand, if you're doing something, you have to reach your research to the scientific community or even to the general audience. So you have to do some outreach program or dissemination program. So, but be clear in the on the difference between the communication activities, dissemination activities, and exploitation activities. You have to indicate exactly the target plan of these 3 activities. For example, you need to give some name of the journal that you want to publish it as a dissemination activity. You want to attend this conference as a dissemination activity or workshop. So anyway, you have to be very specific while writing this part. Not vaguely you will say that I will go to many conference, I will talk to many people. No, you have to be very, very serious and very focused about it. Now, about the criteria 2.3, while answering this, you don't have like a one page, you will only have, let's say, very short paragraph, but you need to address what is the magnitude of your proposal importance. Magnitude means how widely it can help to the taxpayers, and what could be the expected scientific, societal, and economic impacts. I'm not saying your proposal will definitely have all 3 impacts, but definitely your proposal should have a scientific impact at the end. It may or may not have a direct societal or economic impact, but definitely have scientific impact. In either case, you have to explain that, you have to write that, okay, my proposal has this many scientific impact, and maybe some indirect societal and economic impact. You need to write it, okay? Well, now the last part of the proposal, it's called implementation part, and which is definitely important. And it's all about how are you going to implement your work plan or your objective that you talked in the excellence part. So now this is a work plan, and divide all the work packages corresponding to your objectives into specific tasks. Okay, and make a small table probably and give some specific colors to different work packages that will highlight and that will differentiate your different objectives or work packages. It looks good. Only just instead of just writing it, you can make a small table and divide in accordingly into your number of objectives and number of work packages. Then always correlate your work package with objectives. That makes a coherent proposal at the end. And then another important thing is that mention the timeline, person hour very meticulously in a Gantt chart. In a Gantt chart, actually, you need to write a table in a tabular form at what month of your proposal you are addressing which work package, which task you are going to do. And in the same Gantt chart, you will also need to indicate the deliverables, meaning either in the publication way, the milestones, what actually you want to achieve, the dissemination part, the outreach program. Put it in exactly in the particular timeline in your Gantt chart. That's very important. Some people that do not write, you can't actually justify not writing that, but writing in another section. Here, it's all about time and implementation, how you're managing your time and while doing the research and doing as well the outreaching program or dissemination program as well. Do not forget to write about any potential risk. That risk may be major or minor, maybe technical, non-technical, scientific, maybe managerial, but you need to address that. Do you have any? Identify that. If it is major or minor, doesn't matter. Major risk, do not penalize your proposal. But to identify and address and having a contingency plan or alternative plan is always better. That means that shows that you know about your proposal, you know what are the risks, and you are ready to have a contingency plan and address it. Okay. And in the last criteria of this implementation section is about quality and capacity of your institute. You need to just explain about your institute. We know, the evaluator knows or the Marie Curie knows, the all institute definitely have capacity and infrastructure, but you need to explain that. You need to write that in a way that the evaluator is convinced about the capacity and the infrastructure that is available for your growth. This is for your benefit only. Okay, I think I mostly covered almost all of the part. Nevertheless, once again, I'm saying go back, read the Marie Curie website, also read the handbook. You will get more and more information. Nevertheless, I would like to give you some very general, those are specific tips. Now, I would like to give you very general tips. First of all, understand the Marie Curie Fellowship policy first. What exactly Marie Curie wants from you? What kind of proposal you are writing? What is the aim? Very thoroughly. Read carefully again the handbook provided and tailor your proposal accordingly. Then, second tip, be honest with yourself. Do not exaggerate or do not be over ambitious. Don't write in your 2-year grant proposal that you will cure cancer completely. You will reach to the moon in 2 years. So which is over ambitious. So be honest with yourself. Understand your limitation, the time limitation and the infrastructure available in your host institute as well. Then be specific, very precise, but try to be expressive. Do not write unnecessary words, unnecessary jargons, because 10 pages, each space counts. So do not leave, be very, write unnecessary or unwanted phrases or sentences. Then while writing, it's always good that take a break, because you have now time 2 months. So take a break in between your writing. While coming back, you might find a silly mistake which you might have committed. So correct that, read that, give it to your friend and some of other people whom you trust, and they might provide you some inputs, because while writing, if you indulge yourself for a long time in your proposal, you may not, or you may skip some of the silly mistakes. Again, write, correct, and rewrite. take your time, but do not commit silly mistake at all, because that makes a very bad impression to the evaluator that the person is not serious at all about the writing, because it's all about how nicely you have written your proposal. And the last tip I would say, start early. You have now only 65 days. Try to submit before. Do not wait for the end moment of your proposal. Submit it maybe 5 days before. Then you think you may have a mistake. Then you can also submit again your corrected proposal. The last proposal which will be submitted will be considered for further. Okay. Well, so this has already been showed you by Leila, but I'm just reciting again to give you a little bit hint that what usually are the cutoff value. For example, you can see here, if it is life science, the cutoff value always, most of the year I have seen it's 94%. So now the cutoff or the threshold is very high for the funding. But nevertheless, for example, last year there is a total 7,000 around proposal, and 1,200 are funded. So the chances is definitely high, is more than 15%. So if you write a very nice proposal, of course, you will get it. So good luck, and I wish you very all the best and get the fund. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Indrajit. It's been a great presentation, and thank you so much also for taking the time to preparing these slides and walking us through. And I think it was excellent and very well complemented also with what Leila was presenting. I think this was really it's a perfect webinar so far in terms of what information and insights you both have provided. And you see a lot of kudos, a lot of thumbs up emojis have been coming to both you, Leila and Indrajit. Thank you so much, both. I would like to now, let's go into the Q&A, and there have been a lot of questions, some more general, some very specific. So we can see that many are already, in the midst of the proposal. So this is very good for us. Let me start with a few general questions which come up, of course. We have some participants who are maybe new to this call. So there's one question regarding the eligibility, like if I have just submitted my thesis, can I still apply for this call? Now, the answer is that one needs at least a provisional degree, right, to submit during when one submits the proposal. Please, could you just confirm that to the audience? Leila, could you, as an NCP, take this question?
Yes, you must justify not more than 8 years of experience, full-time experience, at least 1 year. So, and you must hold a PhD, because I see a question about someone who will have his PhD after the deadline. So you must hold a PhD at the deadline.
But if I have submitted my thesis, but I haven't received the official certificate, can a provisional degree also be enough? Like if I've successfully defended my thesis, but I don't have the doctoral degree, the final degree, which sometimes takes months here in India to obtain, but can a provisional degree certificate be enough?
Be justified, I think. You must have a justification by an official organization of India. Yes.
Okay. Another question which comes a lot is, can I use UK-based institution for the MSCA? Is the UK eligible to host an MSCA fellow?
UK is eligible, yes.
Okay. Another question was, let's say I've completed my PhD in the field of mathematics, but now I'm working as a postdoc in electrical engineering. Can I select now like engineering for the postdoctoral proposal, even if I have a PhD in mathematics?
Of course, interdisciplinarity is encouraged by MSCA action. So it is eligible, yes.
Okay. I think one more general question was, can I submit multiple proposals with different institutions?
I think no. So one project by research.
Yeah. Okay. There's also a question about the famous PIC number. Like, what if the PIC number of the host institution is not shown? Like, how can I get the PIC number?
By contacting the host institution and the supervisor. So you must be in contact with the host organization and especially with your supervisor.
Yeah, okay. Another question related to supervisor. Now, the part A, which is to be filled in online, who is filling it in? The supervisor or the researcher?
The researcher, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, there's a specific component in the postdoctoral fellowship call, which is the secondment. Now, if I don't have a secondment, or I'm not thinking to do a secondment, will that weaken my proposal?
No.
No.
If it isn't mandatory,
Okay.
Yeah, it is actually not mandatory to have a secondment, of course. So
it's the choice.
Yes, yeah.
So you see, we're moving more into the details of the proposal. Now comes the question. In part B this year, there is a requirement to include information about the robustness of AI systems being used. Now, this researcher is working with machine learning algorithms in chemical data, but it could be seen as a part of an AI-based system. What should I write in this regard? Like, could you maybe say something about this new feature that there should be, one should mention about the use of AI systems? Or is that also new to you?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's even new to me. I have only seen one proposal having, but mostly the AI part has been taken care of prior to the evaluation phase, and they have. Yeah, I'm not actually the right person to answer this question. How will it be look at?
Leila, do you have any idea on that right now?
No, really no.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe one could send us an email and we could look into it more in detail after the webinar. A question regarding salaries, like, are overhead costs included, and are the salaries then taxed according to the respective European host country tax system?
Yes. The tax system by country is applied to the salary.
Yeah, the salary structure, what I understand, probably they can get also this information very nicely, but it's written on what head. Most of the part of your fellowship is definitely as your salary, and a very small part for the management and for the research. And from your salary only, the tax based on your what country you are, will be deducted. Yeah.
There's also one has to choose keywords, right? Mandatory keywords. And any suggestions like on that, like because one, yeah.
Yes, mostly keywords help to find the perfect evaluator. That's the main purpose of the keywords. If you have something, let's say, for example, I'm talking about in perspective of life science proposals. If you have something very related to, let's say, cancer, tumor progression, if you write cancer, so your proposal will be evaluated by a cancer biologist. If you wrote structural biology, so your proposal will be evaluated by structural biologists. That's to help your proposal and putting and assigning the right evaluator for you only. Yeah, so choose keyword very carefully.
Socio-economical impact, Leila, what exactly is meant with that in the proposal?
It is related to European global object and global challenge. It is related to this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sometimes, let's say, some proposals, they have some direct impact to the societal benefit. For example, if you're writing a proposal currently, or maybe a year back about COVID-19 vaccination or COVID-19 related experiment, so that's directly impact the societal benefit or even the economic benefit along with the scientific part. So you understand now my point. So how relevant your project to directly impact the societal benefit. Anyway, all research have been carrying out in EU direct or indirect relation to the societal impact at the end. So your project may or may not have societal impact, but you have to mention that.
Thank you so much, both of you. There's also, a very strong focus from the European Commission and the MSC on the gender dimension of the project and the gender equality. And now we got a few questions, like if we could elaborate a bit more, both of you, about how important it is, and what if my project doesn't include any kind of gender dimension? What should I put in there? Like maybe Leila, you could start, and then Indrajit, you could come in.
For gender equality, it is mentioned by, I think, all projects in European program. So you must put some details about it to show how it is managed in the organization and between all participants.
Yeah, and in another way of looking at this, gender aspect in your proposal is that, first of all, don't worry about this aspect. It's not a very big, point where your proposal will be penalized. Nevertheless, some of the proposal, if includes or required the equal, for example, like any clinical kind of research where you want to, let's say, collect samples, and you need to be very careful while collecting sample. You need to balance. You cannot bias only collecting the samples from one gender because it is available. Until and unless your project is very specific for a particular gender, you cannot do that. Or some project, let's say some very molecular biology project which has nothing to do with gender aspects, but you need to mention that this project answering a very fundamental question about a function of a protein in a cell, which has no relation to any gender biasness or gender aspect, but address that, mention that. That's very important.
Thank you so much, both of you. There's also a question about the focus of both of your presentations, so that the guidelines for the proposal have been very much focused also on the life sciences. But what about researchers in the social sciences or economics? Should they follow the same kind of proposal structure, or is there any kind of help to them, or should they do it a bit differently?
No, this is definitely same kind of, for each 8 discipline, the way of writing is exactly the same. The points, even what the tips and tricks I told you, everything applies to all discipline. There is no specific or biasness towards life sciences only because I am from life science background. Yeah.
Leila, you want to add something?
So as said, Indrajit, it is all tips and advices are the same for all items. So life science, engineering, it is the same. It is bottom-up project, so there is no specification for any domain.
And if you look at the statistics, we can see that social science proposals are very well, funded. Yes. Because I think 1/4 of all the successful, and that's coming from the social sciences. So it's actually a fellowship which is, as Indrajit and Leila said, is like open to any discipline, and everyone has a fairly good equal chance if he submits an excellent proposal. Guys, we have also a question about part B. That's not to be filled online. That has to be uploaded, right, in a PDF format. Just a technical.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Now there is a question regarding the section 2. what's the difference between section 3.2 and 5.2? How can I avoid repetition? Like, because there's there's a page limit. So how to avoid repetition if the sections, like these two sections, are quite similar in appears?
Yeah, 3.2 is it's definitely you have let's say only 100 or maximum 200 word limitation you will end up with, because that's the last section of your proposal. So 3.2 it's about the infrastructure or the the facility available for you, and also at the same time you need to write how you will be integrated into the system. The management, even including the NCP, the institutional help towards the researcher, how is helpful while the person is relocating to the new institute, to the new country. That also you need to explain in the section. It's called research integration. And also do not forget about how you're integrated into the lab as well, into the system, into the institute and into the lab. But in section 5.2, if I am not wrong, that's a part B2, where you need to explain in detail about the infrastructure of your lab. What are the instruments, what are the facility are available for you or in the institute and for your research purpose in a very elaborative way, because there is no page limit for B2 or the section 5.
Nella, would you like to add something on that, like especially how to avoid repetitions if sections are similar?
Just focus on what you are writing and in which part you will give details and to be to respect so the page limitation, and there are some specific about the format of the writing and the type of writing using. That's all.
Okay, great. There is a question regarding IPR, and I think it's a comment one of the candidates has received maybe in the past. It's intellectual property rights management is not convincingly presented. How to address this, Leila?
There is an IPR help desk for MSCI, so it is a fact sheet. So about IPR, it is suitable and quality of the measurement to maximize expected outcome and impact. So I think it should be discussed with the supervisor and the organization. IPR must be discussed between the follow and the supervisor. So there is no tips for it, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, the best way to address this is that you need to mention it, that there is an IPR facility or department in the institute. I am 100% sure all of the institute who are actually conducting Marie Curie action grants, they definitely have an IPR department. You need to mention that in your proposal, that if there are any intellectual property are going to be patented or going to be transferred to an non-academic institute or even another institute, or you are going to file a patent, that will go through the right channel, proper channel, through the awareness of your IPR department, having given you and your supervisor the total property rights. So you need to mention those aspects very nicely so that the evaluator should know that you are aware of this aspect. If something arises, you can handle the issue. If you don't, probably you will get point as a weaknesses that is not written enough well.
Thank you so much, both of you. I think very well explained. Let's take a couple more questions. We have a few more minutes, if that's okay for both of you. Thank you. So far, you have been really doing an excellent job. There is a question, it's actually for Indrajit directly, because in your presentation, Indrajit, you were saying what you can bring to the institute like as a researcher, as a candidate? Like, could you a bit more elaborate on that? What that means?
Okay, so for example, I can only give example based on some life science related projects. For example, you are a chemist background people, and you have expertise in organic synthesis, chemical synthesis. Now you want to expand your knowledge or your domain towards drug discovery, and you want to join a lab where they are only doing structural biology or something related to drug discovery. Now you are taking an extra knowledge and extra expertise that you can synthesize chemicals, you can synthesize small molecules, which they don't know. So now you get an expertise here, and either you transfer your knowledge to the already existing postdocs or researchers in the lab, or you can encourage your supervisor to hire someone and you can teach them, or you can conduct seminar in your institute, new host institute, to teach people to do some workshop and teach them that this is how we can synthesize. These are the rules and regulation or the protocols, how you synthesize a small molecule or think about design small molecule. So now you're bringing something to the table for the host institute, right? So this is how you transfer your knowledge to the lab, to the institute.
Okay. There's a question about referencing and footnotes, like how to do that. Like, is there a font size for that, or is?
Yeah, ideally the proposal is written somewhere. I think it should not exceed or should not lower than 11 font size. I faintly remember. But for the footnotes or the references, I have seen, or even I use them as at the very bottom of my proposal. Try to minimize the space. So there is different way to write your references. Do not write, let's say, the title of the reference. You can shorten the reference so that you can use the minimum space in each footnote, each page. Okay. And do not, let's say, keep a half of page for the references purpose. So that will, take a very valuable half page and minimize, the writing space, because references is not really, although the evaluator would like to see the references, but they are not really evaluated as the other section in the proposal.
Okay. So I think last question, which I just, I just spotted it. So I'm taking it. Sorry, there have been very all important questions. And if we're not able to answer them now during this live session, please send an email to us at india@euraxess.net, and we will be forwarding into the speakers or to the right channel so that you will get your answer. The last question is like, okay, I have a supervisor. He's at the university, but he's also associated to another university. Can I use then the other university as a host institution, like where he's associated, or has it to be that university where he's like fully working? I don't know. I just saw the question. I was just curious myself.
Maybe Leila can answer this.
Do you have any example of that, like experience of that, or the technical?
I don't have in mind this example, so this situation, but I think it must be full time in the organization to be a supervisor.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe that's something which the candidate can send us again an email, and we can try to find a more elaborate on that. But thank you so much for now. Looking at the watch, we are perfectly in time, and I think it was a great session. Both Leila and Indrajit, really very, very great presentations and valuable insights, and also I think the Q&A was quite exciting, and I hope you both enjoyed it, and I of course hope that our audience, you could take a lot from this session. We will share, of course, the recording and the presentations with you, so you can like sit back, go through it. As Indrajit said, only 65 days left, or what? Oh my
Yeah,
God, that
something
sounds
more than that.
That sounds a little okay. That means now is the time. But if you are not ready this year, the good news is it's an annual call, so there will be also a call in 2024. So this could be already a good preparation for those of you who are thinking to apply next year. Okay, but those who are applying now, good luck. You know, go to your laptops, to your PCs, and and soak in everything you have received today from us. And we hope it will help you to write an excellent proposal. Thank you so much. I ask the two of you just to stay for a second for a family picture for this for our archive. And with that, I say thank you very much. Have a good evening here in India. A good lunch break for you, Leila, and I hope to see many good proposals coming in the next
Sure,
weeks.
definitely. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, and good luck the participants. Bye.
Good luck.
Bye bye.
And bye bye.
Bye bye. Take care. Bye bye everyone.